Ready to turn up the heat on your conversations? Welcome to Come Talk with Aimee, where we ditch the shame, drop the small talk, and dive headfirst into pleasure, passion, and everything in between. I'm Aimee, your guide, your confidant, and your favorite permission slip. Let's talk, and not just about the weather. Welcome to Come Talk with Aimee, the show where we burn the shame, ditch the stigma, and say what everyone else is too afraid to whisper. Today, we're talking lube. That's right, slippery, sexy, absolutely essential lube. If you've been told it's only for when things are broken, let me just say that's a lie wrapped in a dry-ass narrative. I'm joined by Orla Maguire, founder of Lubify, and together, we're calling BS on boring formulas, bland branding, and the idea that needing lube is a problem. Spoiler, it's not. It's a total power move. So, grab your favorite beverage or your favorite bottle of silicone and let's lube your damn life. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Come Talk with Aimee. We have a special guest today. We're talking all about Lubify. Lube, laugh, love. We have Orla Maguire with us today, the lash queen turned lube luminary, unapologetically redefining women's pleasure. From Irish roots to New York grit, Orla's the visionary who went from Mascara Mogul to menopause maven, all while raising 4 kids. You heard that right, 4 kids, writing her Bridget Jones meets badass memoir and helping women tap back into their bodies through the art of embodied intimacy. She's bold, brilliant, and boudoir level sensual, blending editorial elegance with entrepreneurial fire. Whether it's luxe lashes, silky lube, or soulful somatics, Orla's mantra is simple: why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Yes, Orla, welcome to Come Talk
Thank
with
you so
Aimee.
much. It's all fun, right? We deserve the best.
We absolutely do. We absolutely do. I'm so excited to have you here. Orla and I are colleagues from the Embodied Intimacy and Relationship Coaching course with the Embody Lab, and that's where we met.
Indeed. Fun times.
Yeah. So excited to have you here. Orla, let's get into it. Tell us how someone goes from creating a lash company to a lube company.
I'm going to take one step back from that. So before I started Lash Star, I was a sittings editor at Cosmopolitan magazine, which is, as we know, all about the fun, fearless females. It was through my many years there that I to really feel like we are fun and fearless. Let's take that and own it and champion that for each other. That's when I started Lash Star. I felt like once the eyes become alive, the face just changes. We convert, we get more confident within ourselves, and it's a game changer. And then as we all hit the game of age, I've decided there's a whole new wave of menopause and everything kind of coming to the forefront. And I just decided, you know what, lube should be the new lipstick because it's a different type of confidence we're looking for. We own our confidence. We don't need self-praise from others. We don't need to be basically validated by others. It's ourselves. It's our own journey from now on.
That is amazing. I love it. I love this. Lube is the new lipstick for women over 40. That's so badass, and I am here for it. Why did you choose lube as your current venture? I'm so curious.
As the whole category has been emerging and becoming more kind of shelf-worthy, it's a very masculine-dominated sector. I felt there was nothing sexy, nothing fun. I've been in brands for a while. I love creating brands. We all deserve a little luxury in our intimate life. Nothing really spoke to that. It was all very kind of outdated, clinical, sterile, masculine, and I wanted to bring some beauty and luxury to the category. And especially with Lubify, for example, it's the marriage of skincare, fragrance, and sexual wellness. So all of those are now being rolled into one gorgeous product. So that was really important.
I mean, can we just say you have done that with Lubify? Look at this. We'll definitely have links for our audio listeners that can't see the video. I'm holding up a bottle right now of Lubify, which I gotta say, I did my research. I was using it last night, but we can get into that. But this is so beautiful. It's so luxe. It really is like skincare for your down there. And I love that it absolutely, I think there's so much of that in sexual health and health in general. I'm also a nurse. I'm very dominated by doctors and the medical field is. And when you use the word sterile, that really struck with me. And I feel when I do see lube on the shelves, it like that word sterile just really hit because it kind of does seem sterile. And I think there's so many misunderstandings that people have about lube and shame around it. So I'm so excited to like dig into this topic today with you. And I love that women owned, women empowered midlife, right?
Yeah.
So a woman in her midlife, marketing it to people who are also in their midlife and thriving sexually.
That's it. I'm trying to demystify the shame and the stigma that goes around these products. And that's why overall the packaging was important. There's a lot of single women out there. We want to be able to take it on a date, keep it in your bag, keep it on your bedside table. It's not something that you need to hide away. So that was part of the whole journey for me, was creating a beautiful looking product. So not only did it look good, but it also performed good and smelled good and would excel in general.
Feels good.
It sure
And
does.
I see this on my bedside table. I want to grab it and use it.
This is what I talk about all the time, especially as we both have discussed as well with through somatics. It's really, products should appeal to all of your senses, especially when it pertains to intimacy, because intimacy, it should appeal to our touch, our sense of smell, our sense of looking at it, how it sounds, how it tastes, how it feels. All of our sensory, aptitudes should become alive. So that's why having something that looked good, smelled good, felt good was the most important thing.
Check, check, and check. You really hit the mark on this one. Absolutely. And above and beyond, to be honest.
Thank you.
So, shall we get into all things lube?
Yes.
And we have our lube expert here. So, let's dive in. All right. We want to know the what, why, who, where of lube. So, what types of lube are best for what types of activity?
I started with a silicone based lube. Eventually, I will do a water based and other lubes. But for me, really, silicone is going to perform the best because water lubes, they require more reapplication. Silicone gives for a much more softer, silkier glide. The feeling of the silicone, and again, the ingredients are just very simple. It's hyaluronic acid, it's vitamin E, it's squalene, and it is silicone. And these are things that we do put on our face. If you look at primers and other products in the beauty space, these are the key ingredients. So you want to take care of down there by putting on things that you would only put on other parts of your body. It's still our skin. It still deserves the best. We still got to treat it with loving care. So the ingredient mix was very important to me. And then, of course, by adding scent, I only wanted to use essential oils. So there's no synthetic fragrances. It's a very natural product because it's our skin and we've got to treat it well.
Absolutely. Our body is covered in skin, and that includes our genital area. So you mentioned the scent, and I would love for you to expand because for people who may be prone to bacterial vaginosis and need to stay away from fragrance, can you explain the difference between or expand a little bit more on the difference between synthetic fragrance and the scents that you have and how that helps or mitigates any negative effects of other lubes that may be scented?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, scent is an aphrodisiac, right? It's one of the key players in sexual relationships. So scent is super important because it does have those aphrodisiac qualities. So I wanted to definitely incorporate it. But again, being mindful and sensitive that there are people that stay away from fragrance that have allergies, all kinds of issues with it. So for me, having the best grade essential oils was important. All of our ingredients come from trusted resources and our essential oils, are certified. It's two base notes. It's neroli, which is a beautiful orange blossom. And then I added a hint of cedarwood, give it that oody unisex scent as well. That gives it that deep kind of sexy scent to it. So the fragrance is absolutely beautiful. But again, coming from cosmetics and beauty and the world of regulatory and having everything really safe, that was a priority for me as well. So the ingredients are really clean. It's a clean brand, all natural. And to address people who still don't want to necessarily have a scent, we've a couple of other scents coming out, but we will do Luxe Lube Nude, which will be the unscented version for those who really draw the line with fragrance.
I have to say, I love that you're calling it nude. It's just so on brand for your brand. And again, that just to me sounds so sexy and something that I want to use.
Thank you.
I
I
love your
mean,
marketing.
Lux Lube, which kind of also just describes what the product is. Lux Lube is our launching product. We'll have Lux Lube Lotus later this year, which is a beautiful aquatic scent. Again, unisex, but really just decadent and unexpected in this lubricating category where we're surrounded by vanilla and cherry and mango and all these kind of other fruits and scents that just don't appeal to everybody. So let's elevate it, especially for ourselves. We deserve the luxury and, elevation that this brand brings.
Absolutely. Curious to know, because your current Rolly is silicone based. Do you plan to try other or venture out into other non-silicone based lubes as well? And why?
Yeah. So with Lux Lube Neroli, which is silicone based, we'll also have Lux Lube Lotus and Nude, also silicone based. And then we're going to do the same three in water based. The goal is to really make sure that we cover your needs, whatever they are. So we'll have our water-based or silicone-based, and then we're doing Lux Lube Sport, which will be flavored, which means that it is good for oral play. And again, the flavors will be a little elevated. Think mocha chai, red velvet, keeping it more luxurious and elevated, really.
Love it. Amazing. And can you speak a little bit to the difference between silicone, water, who should use what, when, where to avoid certain lubes, and when to maximize them?
I always recommend silicone because it lasts the longest, it feels the smoothest, and it's the least irritating. However, the downsides of a silicone-based lube might be that it may stain your sheets, it may stain your clothing, and then with extended use, you should not combine it with certain types of condoms and toys. But really, it would take a lot of use to kind of decompose the toys. That's really the downside of silicone is just continued interaction with silicone-based toys.
Yep.
Some water-based lubes take, preference in those situations. And then, of course, there are other lubes. There are oil-based lubes, aloe vera is becoming a thing, coconut oil-based lubes as well. But for me, I think it's hard to match the feel, the slide, the glide of silicone. It is like velvet on your skin. And for intimacy and pleasure, it is all about those tactile experiences as well as the olfactory experiences. So for me, silicone, I think, is always going to be the top choice.
I love a good silicone. Again, it depends on what I'm using it for. I also enjoy water-based lubes.
Of course, silicone is better for the shower or if you're engaging in any kind of water activity. Silicone won't cause any issues.
Is there anyone that should be avoiding lube in general? I know we've talked about when and where to use specific types of lube.
I don't think so. Again, if you have any kind of concerns, definitely speak with your medical professional, but it's a topical thing, it will seep into the skin. So if there are individuals with certain kind of allergies to things, they should definitely seek medical attention first, but it's overall good for everybody.
I want to just take this time too to say that I am such a fan of lube, and I know I said this in the live that we did a little while ago. I love to quote Emily Morris of Sex with Emily on this. Her goal is to get a bottle of lube on every nightstand, and I second that. I think that lube is so underutilized, misunderstood. Right. It's such a critical and important tool that can really elevate everyone's pleasure, whether your lubrication, your natural lubrication that's coming from your body is quote unquote normal, what is normal anyways, right? But lube can elevate the experience and pleasure for everybody at every age. But to give a shout out, especially in midlife and beyond, I get behind Emily Morris on everyone should have a bottle of lube on their nightstand. It just makes the experience, whether it's solo or partnered play, so much elevated. And if you're like, what are Aimee and Orla talking about? Grab yourself some lube. Hopefully it's Lubify, because of course we love Lubify. But if you were like, I don't need lube, I'm going to challenge you to say, yes, you do. And this is my coach mentality is coming in now. You say, you think you don't need lube. Why do you think that? And I challenge you, I'm going to call your bluff. Give it a try and then come back and tell me why you don't need it. Okay. I'm challenging the listeners.
Exactly. And you know what it is? You may think you don't need it, but then try it and see how better it is. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Don't frown it till you try it, kind of thing. And especially right
Absolutely.
now, lubes, if you go to the drugstore, lubes are typically in the same area as condoms and men's products. So for women, there's a lot of lack of education around it, but thankfully now gynecologists and other medical professionals are recommending it to their patients. Intimacy overall, we could talk about that for hours, because what is intimacy? Really, it's into me see. So to have for yourself, take the time and explore. And even if you're just doing some somatic movements like rubbing your hand on your wrist and how does that feel? But when you add a lube to that and you have that more sensorial experience, that's what you're going to discover, is that by listening to your body, that's when you will realize and feel more aware of how you feel. That's
Yes. I
I
love that
reckon.
you're bringing somatics into this, the body, the sensory experience. You were talking about rubbing your hand, adding little slip and glide with the lube. You can do that on any parts of your body, move down to the private areas, whether that's the clitoris, a penis, for the respective people who have those body parts. And being really mindful and intentional with touching, whether it's your partner or yourself, and adding lube into that, it really does help elevate that sensory pleasure experience.
In somatics, we talk about pleasure mapping. So it can start from the heart, it can continue to the belly and breath, it can talk to sensuality and then pleasure mapping. It doesn't always have to be about genitals and everything else. It's like finding that part of yourself that feels good to the touch and allowing yourself to enjoy that pleasure. Even sitting with your hand on your heart for a few moments and just feeling that energy and the heat that comes to your hand. And then through your own personal journey, being more in tune with your body and when it becomes alive, whether it is, and that's the great thing about pleasure mapping. It's like, what parts of my body evoke pleasure? How am I experiencing this pleasure? What is it bringing to me? How can I expand on it and enjoy it? And again, this is all part of the work I do with women, is helping demystify the shame and the guilt around pleasure. There's so much of that just from trauma built in through different circumstances. So it really is, it's a journey of self to get comfortable and dispel any old myths, any old feelings that we've had, and listen to ourselves and feel no shame, no guilt. That's why even the word masturbation, I always say I'd love to frame it, to self-revery, because really it's a dreamy escape for ourselves. You take time off and you'll go and meditate or do yoga, but you'd never talk about taking time off to go and self-pleasure. So it's just demystifying all of that. And now we're getting more outspoken about, especially with menopause and HRT and all these things that are coming to the forefront for women. So very much about, breaking through, piercing the veil of shame, and having this as something that we can stand behind and regain our power.
Yes. Piercing the veil of shame. Oh my goodness. I got chills when you use that phrase. I love the term that you've chosen, and the reframe, self-revery, because it shows self-pleasure is an experience to revel in, to really pamper yourself with. And I think a lot of us come at it, or historically it's been looked at as, again, like shameful. When I started having self-pleasure or allowing myself to self-pleasure, I had a lot of shame around it. I mean, grew up in a purity culture where self-pleasure was seen as a sin. Well, it really took a long time for me to demystify that for myself. And so I love the reframe that it really is an opportunity to pamper yourself. The self-revery. I love that.
Yeah, I'll see your purity upbringing and raise it one with my Catholic Irish upbringing. And that's the whole thing really, is that removing these words that are archaic and associated with shame and dirt and guilt. We don't need to use these labels anymore. And that's why even through workshops and different things that I'm either leading or participating in, it's helping women overcome that stigma that has been attached to it. And again, with Lubify, for example, just having these other skincare ingredients, it's proving that these are products that are worthy of shelf life and being seen and being talked about. There's no need to have the stigma around it.
Absolutely. And choosing words that land well with women. I do such an amazing job at that and I love it. And people who are listening in, I know are just going to be like, yes, yes, yes. For all of you listening, I'm just foreseeing that at least it is for me as I'm listening to Orla talk. It's just landing so beautifully and helping. Yes, I want to view my pleasure in that way. It's really beautiful.
And I'm creating this intimacy deck, just a card deck, like you might have a yoga deck or different things. I'm
Uh-huh.
breaking it into these categories of heart connection, belly and breath, pleasure mapping, because really it's almost for a lot of us, we have to go back to zero to figure out
Mm.
and reacquaint ourselves and just get to know where is my pleasure. Because at the end of the day, when we're in our pleasure, we're in our best divine feminine energy. We're happier, we're more creative, we're better people to be around, more. We just contribute by tapping into our own resource, which is the most amazing thing because it is within all of us. The whole
Right.
idea of creating the deck was to just allow ourselves those exercises, sit with ourselves and question, how do I feel? What does that evoke for me? How can I make that sensation better? Then even having the conversation with a partner, it's like my partner's not pleasing me right, but I'm too embarrassed to ask him. So my goal with the cards as well is to even just start the conversation.
Yes, I love that. Communication is lubrication. That's another Emily Morris quote. Big fan of Emily
Love
Morris. She was
that.
one of our
It is.
teachers on the course as well. Communication is lubrication. So I love that. How amazing lube and the card deck, they go hand in hand. And I'm wondering too if you can talk because we are open kind of the conversation on communication. Part of this podcast too is really how can we help people talk about sex and bring sex out of the shadows and make it a day-to-day conversation. And I noticed that talking to friends and others, now my coaching clients, sex is we're not even talking about it with our friends and our family. We're also not talking about it with the people that we have sex with our actual partners. I love that you're making this card deck. I'm so excited to see it. You're just so amazing with words. So I know that it's going to be something that's going to inspire and uplift and create these conversations. As somebody who is really trying to help people navigate these conversations and empower people with these conversations, I'm so excited to see this deck. I can't wait.
Thank you.
And
Because at the end of the day, it's getting out of our comfort zone, which is
mm,
difficult. Because even if you sit with a partner and look each other in the eye, just gaze for a few moments, it's uncomfortable. Yet this is the person you swap bodily fluids with, you sleep with them
yes,
every night, but you still kind of feel that awkward level of staring in their eye and asking for pleasure because there's something kind of self-shaming maybe, or am I worthy? Do I deserve? All these other kind of stories we've created in our own heads. So by having the cards, the goal was to arm ourselves with a tool that would help break it down, make it easy to talk about, and even have fun, whether it's just with ourselves. One of the things I love is play with rhythm, watch the tempo. Even if you're rubbing your fingertips up your arm, or you take a cube of ice and up the inside of your arm, but then go faster or slower. It's like how your
yes,
body changes. Listen to your body, because as I say, when I'm coaching women in particular, it's how can you allow your significant other to be intimate with you when you have not crossed that barrier of being intimate with yourself. It starts with you. And then
yeah.
once you've found your comfort zone and you're able to own it, and without any shame or stigma, then your relationships with others are going to blossom.
I agree too. As a coach, that's, my perspective as well, that it really does start with you as the individual. Like in other self-care or self-improvement, they always say to start with the self. It's the same with pleasure. We need to have this foundation of understanding ourselves. And you were talking about sensation play. This is Masturbation May, another shout out for Masturbation May. It's the opportunity, and that's why I'm launching this podcast this month, because what a great opportunity to help people unlock and understand, come to your own self-pleasure, and help people feel empowered to take measures into their own hands, literally and figuratively. I love that you were talking about sensation play, and that's something that you can do, partnered play or yourself. And earlier you talked about body mapping, and that's really getting to know your own erogenous zones. And like you just talked about, you can do it with different rhythms, temperatures, heat. I really like heat play, or cold play with an ice cube. And you can do it with lube. We talked about that a little bit earlier about sensory play. Lube is a very sensual sensory play tool. And so even discovering and using lube.
The big misnomer about it is that it's sticky or it's tacky. And even in the development of the product, I've been testing so many, and I walk around and I'm constantly massaging it into my hand and getting the smell and feeling. And that's been such a fun experience too. Tapping it into different parts of my body and getting the formula right and making sure that it was just a silky satin feeling, because when you are in tune and alive to the feeling on your skin and on your body, it definitely makes for a more enjoyable experience. So sometimes without even being conscious of it, you're kind of dissolving into it. Embrace it and allow yourself to engage with yourself.
Yes, I love that. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And I have to say, you were talking about lube often being sticky and tacky. And with Lubify, you guys, it's like putting a serum on. It really is. It's that kind of similar sensation on your skin. And again, that, goes and speaks to the formulary that you use. I was using it last night for research purposes. It really helped me feel into my body more. It really is. I mean, it's well done you. Well done you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It is important because as we age, our body loses moisture and, we become dry and everywhere, all over. So of course down there as well. So that's why I'm coining it skincare for down there, because it's another part of our body that with age is losing the moisture and we need it. So it absorbs beautifully into the skin, and with the enriching ingredients, it's locking in that moisture.
Yes, absolutely. No, we've talked about this a little bit already, but while we're on the topic of Lubify specifically, can you tell me what makes Lubify unique in the lube game?
I think first and foremost is the appeal it has to our senses, especially our olfactory senses, our tactile. There are other products that are performance, they're there just to get the job done, but not to necessarily enhance the experience. So for me, Lubify is head and shoulders above other brands because it awakens so much more in you once you take that pump and just the gorgeous pump onto your skin, and the aroma, the scent starts to envelop you, really. As I like to say, that Lubify enhances pleasure like nothing else. So that's, to me, the point of difference with the brand.
I love it. And the scent too, it's not overpowering. It's very warming. It's inviting, I find.
It lingers for just long enough. So I don't want to then have, this fragrance everywhere. It's not like that at all.
Yeah. And can you speak a little bit more to what pleasure problem Lubify best solves?
For me, Lubify, the problem it solves mostly is friction, because again, as we mentioned earlier, people might think they do not need lube, but once you use it, there's no going back. So friction is not pleasant, and with aging, friction becomes more predominant. But even if you are engaging with a partner and you're self-lubricating, but to last the game, basically, lubricant is only going to enhance your experience.
Yes, yes. And also, again, going back to those misconceptions and the stigma and shame that is specific to lube, which is ironic because it solves these things, is that people feel like, oh, I need to be able to self-lubricate or there's something wrong. But really, lube helps you last longer. It reduces friction. Even if there's already natural lubrication going on, it really elevates and enhances it for everyone.
Telling these old myths women
Yes.
are shrouded in, that if we are not able to lubricate naturally, then we're broken or we're not whatever, which is bullshit, really. You know what I mean? That's what I'm most happy about, is that our voices are now being heard. And hey, yes, we're here for it.
So what's currently on deck for Lubify?
So right now, Neroli is our numero uno. It's our launch product, but I'm so excited to be launching Lotus and Nude later this year, which Lotus is another absolutely beautiful fragrance. It's going to be a real hard pick for me then over Neroli or Lotus. It's that aquatic, just again, unisex, but really ethereal and a beautiful scent. And then, of course, Nude, which will appeal to those who really would rather stay away from fragrance altogether. And then after that, we have Luxe Lube de Aqua, which is our water-based trio. And we're duplicating what we already have and love, which will be our Neroli scent, our Lotus scent, and our unscented. But you'll be able to get those in the water-based version. And then after that, we have our Luxe Lube Sport, which is going to be flavored as opposed to scented. But again, keeping the game elevated with our decadent flavors as opposed to our pina colada and mango. We're going for more, mocha chai and red velvet and elevating the game.
I
And
love that.
then, not to forget, of course, the Intimacy deck, which is going to help enhance pleasure either for yourself, because it's going to give you the opportunity to sit with yourself and figure out, where does my pleasure come from? How can I enhance it? Because at the end of the day, when I am in my best pleasure self, that's when I'm my most creative. That's when I'm in my best mood. That's when I'm the most pleasant to be around. It's asking ourselves those questions. And then for people in relationships, the card deck is really going to serve a great purpose to help overcome intimacy issues in a relationship. That's my goal, is to keep spreading the love, increasing the intimacy, being in touch with ourselves so that others can be in touch with us.
Yes. Orla, you have arrived in our lives and we love it and we need it. We need more, 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 more of what you're putting out there. I'm so excited. I love that I have Neroli. I'm so excited to try the Aqua Lube that you can use for oral. Make sure it's appropriate.
Our Luxe Lube Sport will be edible in that regard. It's a water-based. It's a little trickier with the silicone-based products, because at the end of the day, it's a more oily consistency, which, while it doesn't have a bad taste and certainly can't cause any harm, it's just not the most pleasant for longer periods of time. But with the water-based, that will be easily overcome.
Lube for all types of play, oral. Again, if you're going to use lube for oral, make sure it is edible. And hello, lube. I love it. I have some questions for you I'm going to ask everybody this month who's on here from Self-Pleasure Month. So, how do lube and self-revery go hand in hand?
I mean, you can't have one without the other, because really, to heighten the experience, bringing in those additional qualities, the scent, the touch, it just makes for a winning combination.
Yes, and we love being winners. All right, some rapid fire questions. I want to know your answers to these because we are coming to completion. I know everyone's so sad. We love a good ending.
Happy ending.
Yes, we love a happy ending. So let's come to completion. How do we close the orgasm gap?
By embracing it, because a lot of people have it too much in their head and not in their body. They're allowing their head take over. I can't get there. So it's embrace it. Allow yourself to feel.
Love that. Allow yourself to feel. Yes. How do you become a receiver of pleasure?
Well, listen, you don't need anybody. You've got yourself. And again, it's allowing yourself. It's being aware of the sensation, listening to your body first and foremost. What feels good? What doesn't feel good? How can I make it feel better? So really, it's spending time with yourself.
Yes, I love that. And sex with yourself is sex.
Pleasure is pleasure.
Pleasure is pleasure. I was at this conference last year, a sexual symposium for women in midlife put on by the Swell. And somebody who was a recent widow of a year, she was asking specifically the medical panel about self-pleasure, and she was talking about how she does not see herself having another partner. And she, again, going back to a little bit of shame, feeling like, okay, well, I only have masturbation. And I loved what this doctor said. Self-pleasure is sex. Like, sex is sex, right? Whether it's with yourself or with an individual. And like, I love that you said that. Like, we don't need anyone else. We can. It's fun to have other play partners, but again, it starts with yourself and exploring yourself. So yes.
And then it brings a whole other question about what brings you pleasure. I have friends that just love to garden, or maybe love to write poetry, or love to dance. So it doesn't always have to be our pleasure from many other things. Maybe you love sitting in a jacuzzi for an hour. That to me is one of the best forms of self-pleasure. I've removed from everything. I can really just focus on myself. So it's what
Yes.
pleasure looks like for you. And some people put themselves under too much pressure in that regard. Oh, if I'm not
Absolutely.
achieving this, and if I can't climax in X amount of minutes, and absolutely not. There's no strict rules. It's an individual experience for everybody.
Yes, I love that. Like, slow down. Think about, what does pleasure look like for you, whether that is sexual or non-sexual. That first sip of coffee in the morning, love it. Very orgasmic for me, to be honest. Yes, absolutely. Get to know yourself and allow yourself pleasure. We live in a society where we're go, 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 achieve, achieve, achieve. And we feel guilty about taking time for ourselves. And let's flip that script by pouring into yourself and allowing yourself self-pleasure, self-revery, whether that's intimacy or pleasure in the garden or that first sip of coffee. Allow yourself that, and that is only going to help decrease the stress in your life and make you more productive overall.
Absolutely. There's no point in running around on an empty gas tank. You know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
only way to fill our tank is just to be at one with ourselves and allow ourselves that intimacy and that pleasure to put your best self out there.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so what's your ultimate communication advice?
Listen to your body.
Love it. What has helped you unlock shame around sex?
Talking about it, because I think as women we tend not to talk about it, but there's nothing I love more than being in rooms with other women, because I find once I start to talk about it, women just open up, everybody's happy to talk, tell you their story, and that just is a game changer for me, is that talking about it with others. A problem shared is a problem halved, right? So when you find that there are
Yes.
so many people experiencing exactly what you're going through, it just makes the whole thing less daunting.
Yes, communication is lubrication again. Go to my tagline, which is bringing sex out of shadows and into day-to-day convos. That was, for me personally, really what helped me is I had a friend who asked me about my pleasure journey. It was actually a male who is one of my best friends. And there's no sexual connection between us. He was just asking, being curious about it. And it was a conversation that I didn't know that I needed, but I craved so much. And it really helped me have the language to be able to talk to others. And the more I've talked about my own pleasure, it's definitely like helped knock out that shame and stigma and helped my capacity to experience pleasure, which is just beautiful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's amazing when you meet men, who are open to the conversations, because again, much and all as for women, it's a conversation of embarrassment and whatnot. For men, it's such a macho thing. But to then actually break back the layers and discuss how they really feel and the problems they really are encountering in their relationship. It's such a shame that people can't openly talk about it. But that's changing. There are more therapists, there are more forums, there are more conversations through podcasts like this, through everything, where the conversations are becoming easier to have. And again, it's communication, right?
Yes, absolutely. Orla, I have loved having you on here. I'm sad that we have to wrap this up.
I always love
We
talking
had
to
a good
you.
ending.
We did.
We will have you on again. Is there any last advice that you have for our listeners?
I think really just start the conversation with whomever, even if it's a stranger, you know what I mean? There's a lot to be gathered from every conversation. So
Absolutely,
go
absolutely.
find the lube, go find the lube wherever
Go find
you.
the lube. And of course, again, Lubify, beautiful, amazing.
I,
And
ilubify.com.
Okay.
the website.
Do you want to tell us where else, in addition to your website, that people can find you?
Yes, you can find us on ilubify.com. Very soon we'll be on Amazon, and then doctors' offices and other boutiques are starting to stock the brand. So it's exciting.
I love that. I love it so much. Lubricate, self-revery. I'm here for it. I love it. Thank you guys for listening in. Thank you, Orla, for being here and giving us so many valuable insights on lube and on pleasure in general. That's it for Lube Your Life. Big love to Orla Maguire for showing up with brains, boldness, and a better bottle of lube. If this episode made you laugh, do a double take, or rethink everything you thought you knew about slickness, good. That means we're doing our job. Check the show notes and connect with Lubify. And come hang with me on Instagram at Come Talk with Aimee. Rate, follow, share with your group chat, and remember, being well lubed isn't extra, it's revolutionary. As always, thanks for coming. Come again, and come again.